This is something that occurred this afternoon as we were preparing on PBS NewsHour in an interview with Judy Woodruff. This is what a consultant to Donald Trump had to say.
I think he's considering perhaps terminating the special counsel. I think he's weighing that option. I think it's pretty clear by what one of his lawyers said on television recently. I personally think it would be a very significant mistake, even though I don't think there's a justification. And even though, I mean, here you have a situation.
You don't think there's a justification for
a special counsel in this case, but also, I mean, Robert Mueller, there's some real conflicts. He comes from a law firm that represent members of the Trump family. He interviewed the day before, a few days.
So that is Christopher Ruddy, CEO of Newsmax Media. He's speaking not as a consultant to Donald Trump, but as someone who's connected to the Trump campaign, essentially alleging that Donald Trump is being advised that he should fire Robert Mueller, the special investigator into the Russian interference in the 2016 election. Listen, we've said this time and time again. It's very possible that what happened with Russia could amount to something that is not enough to impeach Donald Trump. That's always been a strong possibility. However, it's the cover-up, the things that have happened since, the unforced errors made by Donald Trump that could be his ticket out of the White House. If the situation with James Comey pans out as James Comey testified before Senate, it's a possible case of obstruction of justice. Same with firing Robert Mueller. Now, he has within his purview, the president has within his purview the ability to fire Robert Mueller as a special prosecutor because he's not independent. And this is something California Senator Kamala Harris pointed out in a Senate hearing with Rod Rosenstein on last week. And I want to take a listen to what she was trying to emphasize in this clip.
Oh, would you agree, Mr. Rosenstein, to provide a letter to Director Mueller, similarly, providing that Director Mueller has the authority as special counsel, quote, independent of the supervision or control of any officer of the department, and ensure that Director Mueller has the authority that is plenary and not, quote, defined or limited by the special counsel regulations?
Well, Senator, I'm very sensitive about time, and I'd like to have a very lengthy conversation and explain that all to you. I tried to do that.
Can you give me a yes or no answer,
in the
please?
closed briefing. Well, it's not a short answer, Senator. The answer
It is either you are willing to do that or not, as we have precedent in that regard.
But
Mr. Chairman, they should be allowed.
All right, so they go into an exchange that we talked about last week where they essentially cut off Kamala Harris. But this was a pivotal question. The true independence of Bob Mueller matters here. And if President Trump is able to fire him, then that is indicative of the absence of independence in the first place. It's all a farce. It's all a charade. And this is demonstrated by the conversation or the questioning that Kamala Harris did of Rod Rosenstein. And so Rod Rosenstein was not willing to say that he was going to write a letter of basically outlining the independence to actually make Mueller a truly independent investigator in this process. Without that, he is beholden, Mueller is beholden to the Deputy Attorney General, not to Jeff Sessions, because Jeff Sessions has recused himself. But ultimately, Mueller is accountable to President Trump. And so how can he investigate President Trump if he's accountable to President Trump? Now, back to the issue at hand, which is really, this would be an extremely imbecilic move by Donald Trump. This is like throwing, what's it called? Not churn, but throwing blood in the water. This is throwing blood in the water for everyone who believes that there is a vast Russian conspiracy happening around us as we speak. This would undermine Donald Trump in such a significant fashion that he would, if he's gridlocked now, can you imagine what he would not be able to do if he fires Robert Mueller? But this is what people around him are advising him. People around him are advising him to do this. And this would be one of the most extreme example of an unforced error that Donald Trump has made to sabotage himself.